good to have this launch event this evening. I'm a lifelong trade unionist. Some people know me as the former National Vice President of the Public and Commercial Services Union, but I'm the Joint National Chair of the Artists Union England, and it's with that hat that I sit on the National Executive of the GFTU. And as a multidisciplinary artist, I create as a visual artist, as a vocalist, as a writer and poet. It's really important to have education at the centre of that. And education is at the core of my creative practice, but also my practice as an equality and human rights campaigner. As a lifelong trade unionist, I've benefited from going on numerous courses, summer schools over many years, but also being a lay tutor and actually being provided through my previous trade union with a qualification in teaching, so I could teach trade union education. So if we don't have education, if we don't share knowledge and pass on knowledge, we don't know where we stand in today's times. And that's why it's important not only for the education programme that's provided by the GFTU Trust to focus on practical skills which arm trade unionists, especially new trade unionists, with the expertise, the tools and the knowledge to go back into their workplaces, back into their union structures and represent their members and advocate for change, advocate for improvements, advocate for rights and equality, but that we also learn from our history in our movement. And the Trust doesn't just benefit trade unionists, but our wider labour movement and grassroots activists as well. And there's an African proverb that says, if you don't know where you came from, then you can't know where you're going. And that's why that element of the training that's provided by the GFTU is crucial. Coming from one of the youngest and smallest unions in the trade union movement in the UK, the Artists Union of England, I can tell you that when we were established, having the support of the educational trusts and the education programme was crucial to us because we didn't have the resources, the tools or the infrastructure to deliver training to our representatives. So it meant that they could come to courses at no cost, they could learn the skills that they needed to go out and do their roles in the trade union movement, but they also had the added benefit of being engaged and working alongside other trade unionists, because it's also about building that solidarity and building that unity. So meeting trade unionists from across the movement is very different to doing the training course in your own union, and having that benefit of experiences and knowledge and best practice is also part of that education programme. And I want to end on a couple of things. Another element of the work of the Trust is the work it does in communities, the work it does for the next generation. And I'm really proud and pleased to be involved in developing a programme that brings to communities and brings to the public what black workers and black communities have brought to the UK. Not just the struggles that we've gone through against racism, against the legacies of colonialism, the Windrush scandal, but also how we've benefited society, what we've contributed to society and the trade union movement and the labour movement in Britain. And the programme that we're working on will be an intersectional programme, but also will be cross-generation, and that's really important that we bring generations together. And the already mentioned is that we have these programmes that are for building leadership for women, for black workers, for young workers, because unfortunately in our movement we still face barriers and discrimination. And so we need those programmes. We need to ensure that there are black people, that there are women, that there are LGBT+, that there are disabled, that there are young workers on decision-making bodies in our trade unions and also at the negotiating table. There should be nothing about us without us, and that's why those programmes are really important too. And I want to end on a quote from Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was an educator, an emancipator who was born into enslavement, and he said, "Education means emancipation. It means light and liberty. It means the uplifting of the soul into the glorious light of truth, the light by which we can only be made free." And this was an extract of his speech in 1894, Blessings of Liberty, an education speech. Thank you for listening.